There was a chemistry with these guys.
It was destiny. It was bound to happen one way or another.
They're bringing order to this chaos.
But I'll tell you, this is not an easy business.
Really everything that's going on in the accounting world today is a complete rip-off of what these guys were doing years ago.
Coming up, the story of 4 young mathematicians from the suburbs who brought their childhood dreams of cost reports and tax shelters to the big city to make the big time. This is the story of the accountants.
When the whole thing started, I was just a temp, and Scott was this young file clerk, fresh out of college, and by mere coincidence, we both ended up working at this big old firm in downtown Los Angeles.
But little did they know that during their summer job, they would form a bond that was destined to last a lifetime.
Just like Lennon and McCartney.
I was the one who actually got the whole thing rolling. I had heard about the upstart company.
We had a few connections in personnel, and for some reason they decided to give us a shot at running our own department.
And we knew we were good, but we couldn't do it alone, and we were just missing a few pieces.
I met Dave at a temp job that I'd worked a few years back. His resume was nothing to look at, but that boy could crank out a cost report like nobody's business.
Well, I was grateful to be invited to be a part of the group, but I was the one that said, hey, we're not ready. Who's going to file all this stuff?
The boys set out to find the spark that they needed, but it wasn't easy.
Alphabetize.
Do you validate?
I'll tell you the truth. We didn't have much hope. We just didn't know if we had what it took to run our own office.
And then, just like that, Andrew walked through the door, and we all looked at each other, and we just knew.
We just knew.
We just knew.
Chris McAfee, wife of Andrew McAfee, fondly recalls when she first met her husband.
He gave me my first highlighter. That's where it all started.
Andrew looked like an accountant, felt like an accountant. Everything about this guy just said accountant.
We decided to give him a shot.
What's this? I need the Kensington file.
I looked at the file in my hand. Kensington. I handed the file to Mr. Gerber.
Thanks.
We knew we were onto something really special here.
The way they could handle those numbers, I've never seen anything like it.
There was nothing that could stop them. They were wonderful together, and the love that these guys had for the numbers.
It was the security guards noticed first, and then a few of the workers from the legal department.
It was after that we pretty much knew we were on our way.
You inspired me a lot. Cool guy. Thank you very much.
The early days, those were the funnest. You know, we would take trips, and that was fun. And those were the days when we could go ourselves, you know, and get the supplies. That didn't last very long.
The Fab Four caught fire. Word got around, and people came from miles around just to get a glimpse of the young number crunchers.
I always come to oh my god! Oh my god!
Sure, it was a little strange at first, but I'm pretty certain that in the beginning, success always does feel a little awkward.
The upstart firm grew at an astronomical rate.
There was a chemistry with these guys. You'd go to the office, you know, I'd stop by for lunch, not that he would ever take a break. There was just this energy in the room.
Yeah, things got really big, really fast. And I guess looking back on it now, probably happened too quickly, but anybody complaining about it at the time.
I felt we needed a change. We all did. The people deserve something different.
And so many actually good accounting firms just go to the wayside. They just fade away because they won't take risks. They won't try anything new.
We were determined not to let that happen to us.
We had no problem whatsoever in experimenting, constantly reinventing ourselves, and taking the work in a new direction.
We had the talent.
We had the notoriety.
And we had the money.
But more importantly, we had the financial sense to invest the money wisely.
They're changing our world.
With youth, money, fame, and success, you could always count on a crowd.
It's the group that's so dynamic, but there's just something about Andrew, you know, those quick little fingers. That blows me away.
We were incredible in bed. I can't believe I was telling you that.
Well, the decision to remove the makeup was mine. I just was tired of the glitz and the glamour and the wild parties. It didn't mean anything to me anymore. And I felt that we needed to get refocused on what was important to us, which was, of course, the accounting.
But the group's new direction brought turmoil as internal tensions began to mount.
Do you want me to put the MCs at the beginning of the M's or in the actual order of the letters?
In the beginning, it's according to the letter, M-A-C.
Okay.
What accounting planet are you from?
What?
Hey, that's the old way, okay?
Right, that's the way it's always done.
I'm sorry. I thought we were trying to do something new here. Something new here, my way.
A few of us had some issues that were getting a little out of control.
Come on!
You know, he'd come home and talk about it a little bit, and he was worried that maybe they were losing focus. But there were nights when he didn't come home. I got nervous. It was tax time. I never saw him. One year I had to go to H&R Block. I'm sorry, can we stop for a second? Can you just turn that off?
You know, JW, he thought he was God. But there was a time when I think maybe he was.
This is a holiday week. Payroll's in by noon.
I'll say when payroll's due.
I think I'm still the boss here.
Oh? Well, I think you're expendable, boss.
Day after day, Scott's addiction took hold. Mornings became afternoons, and afternoons became night.
What are you looking at? Can a guy just work around here?
What's wrong with you?
There's nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with being a little quiet around here so I can possibly get some work done, okay? And so I can possibly hear the colors as they bleed beautifully. And I don't need this. I have to go somewhere else. I can get some work done. Oh.
Well, I didn't realize at the time how big the problem had actually gotten. It was much bigger than I was. And luckily I survived the first attack. and I got help.
I don't know though, nobody wanted to mention the paper cuts. I mean, they were there, I know we saw them. Eventually we couldn't even go bowling.
Well, the saddest part was that with all the attention that was being showered upon me and what I was going through, well, none of us really could see what the real problem was.
One night I found him in the study with his calculator and he was just hitting the divide key. I didn't say anything to him, I just left.
Andrew's accounts were about to go in the red.
Andrew? Andrew? Give yourself a break.
I don't need one!
He said he wanted to work late that night, and I mean, we were all exhausted. So we left him alone.
I guess a part of me knew it was gonna happen. I mean, there's only so much healing a hand can do, you know? Eventually one of those slices has got to be the last one.
I was the first one in the next morning and found the mess.
I just went to the church and I just prayed. I prayed that it would not be true.
I called the paramedics. They said it was long gone, there's nothing they could do.
He died of paper cuts, plain and simple.
At the tender age of 33, seemingly at the height of his career, Andrew McAfee, file keeper, was dead.
I guess we all failed him.
I haven't talked about it very much. I can't really talk about it very much. What is there to say? I miss the guy every day, terribly.
I just went into his office and held his calculator, rubbed that divide key.
Sometimes I imagine that I see him over there filing in that Andrew kind of way.
If there's an accounting heaven, which I hope that there is, if there is one, they've got one hell of a filing clerk. Best one that's ever lived.
We wanted to get back on track right away and see things through to the end of the fiscal year. Since we were having no luck finding a file clerk on our own, we decided to get one from the temp agency. But that was just doomed from the start.
With the in-basket overflowing and payroll several weeks behind, it was time for the boys to close out the books. Scott sought help to battle his addiction.
Hello, my name is Scott, and I am a coffeeholic.
Hi, Scott.
JW tried to go solo, but quickly found that life without his partners was no easy write-off. While Dave retreated into the artist's life, hoping that time and space would heal some of the net loss. Their once bright fire had burned out, and the accountants had gone their separate ways.
I realized I had hit rock bottom. I had to search my soul and get in touch with that little accountant that is inside all of us. I asked myself, what was going to make him happy?
Embarrassingly enough, I was being audited by the IRS.
Hey.
I had to go into our storage to pull a few of our business records from a few years back.
Do you ever miss it? I mean, if you had a chance to go back and do this all over again, would you do it?
And quicker than you could say accounts receivable, their flame was reignited.
We've all grown older, and we've changed.
Maybe we're not as big as we used to be. Maybe it'll never be like it was back in the day. We're just doing what comes natural to us.
I'll go by the file cabinet and see that things are in order. And it's like he's still with me.
It just goes to show what 4 wild boys in the suburb with big accounting dreams.
You know, I'll go back sometimes now and see the guys in action. And they're doing pretty good, you know?
reminds me of something I heard once. I will not wish thee riches nor the glow of greatness, but only that wherever thou go, some weary heart will gladden at thy smile, or troubled life know sunshine for a while. And so thy life will be a track of light, like angels' footsteps passing in the night. I'm not really sure what that has to do with our story, but I kind of like the way it sounds.
But I think that pretty much says it all.